All right, we'll get started with Tennessee head coach Jeremy Pruitt. Coach, we'll ask you to make a brief opening statement, then we'll open it for question and answer. Again, if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you for Q&A.
You know, we're excited to be at Tennessee. In the last 7 months, there's been lots of change. We've actually added a practice field. We've redone our weight room. We've redone the Anderson Center. Coach Fitz has done a fantastic job this offseason. Our guys are growing. They're working hard, and we're ready to get started. With that, I'll take any questions.
We'll start back here, standing on the left side.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Right here.
Hey, how you doing?
Rachel Barbeau, ESPNU. I followed your career. You're a tough, no-nonsense coach. With that said, why do you think you were the perfect fit for Tennessee, given all they've been through recently?
Well, I don't know that I was the perfect fit, but I'm the head coach there now, and I'm excited about it. Start with our athletic director, Phillip Fulmer. If I knew I was going to be the head coach at Tennessee, I couldn't have picked a better athletic director. The guy he played there, assistant coach, head coach, won a championship. Everything that's made Tennessee great over the years, he knows why. When Tennessee has struggled, he also knows why. So he's going to alleviate the process of us getting to where we want to be, which is back to being a championship program. And I'm very thankful that he's there.
We'll go over here to the right side on the back row in the middle.
Hi, Coach. So with Tennessee's last 3 football hires, fans and football administration have had really high hopes for them, and they all fell flat. How are you going to change that narrative?
Well, first of all, I haven't been there in the last 10 years, so I had no control over that. All we're going to worry about is the things that we can control, which is, trying to improve our players every day, giving them the resources to get degrees, to develop and become better football players, for us to become a better team, and bring a championship back to Knoxville.
We'll go standing over here on the left side.
Hey, Coach, having coached under Jimbo Fisher, Mark Richt, Nick Saban, what kind of things are you trying to emulate from each one? And then how do you walk that fine line of keeping it your own and not just becoming kind of, I guess an amalgam of all of them?
Well, I look at it like this. 15 years ago, I was teaching elementary PE, K through 3rd grade. Now I'm the head coach at Tennessee. I didn't get here by trying to be somebody else. I just tried to be who I am, and I tried to do the very best that I possibly could to help support the men that I worked for, and I'm thankful that I have this opportunity.
We'll go over here standing on the right side.
Coach, a couple stops at different high schools. What did you take away from your time at high schools when you were coaching there that you think gets you ready to be a head coach at the collegiate level?
Well, I think when you look at our staff that we've hired, out of the 10 on-field position coaches and myself, 8 out of the 11 started off as a high school football coach. To me, the men that get into high school ball, they want to have a positive impact on young people. They know that when they take those jobs that they're going to be in the classroom. They understand that football's secondary, that education's first. I think if you're going to be a good high school coach or any coach, you've got to have a great teaching progression. You've got to have patience. You've got to have understanding. And I think nobody understands that better than somebody that's worked in high school. You're not choosing who comes to school. You're teaching who's there. So you learn to adapt. You learn how to motivate. And I think the fact that 8 out of the 11 guys involved on our staff that have had that background, I think it gives them understanding that's going to help us develop young men. And I think if you looked at our staff, they've probably had as big an impact on this past year's draft as anybody in the country. There was 8 out of the 32 picks in the first round, somebody on our staff either recruited or coached or helped develop in some form of fashion over their college career. And then the guys on our staff have been a part of championships. So I think there's 13 national championships among the men on our staff.
We'll go standing back here on the left side.
Hey, Coach Pruitt, as far as your relationship with the players at Alabama goes, what will you miss most about them?
Well, it's not just the Alabama players. It's everybody that I've been involved with. I have a passion for young people. I think probably the ultimate compliment that you can get as a coach is when a parent says, I'm going to let my child come play for you. I have 3 boys of my own. I know exactly how I want them treated. I feel like that if you treat people the right way, you're going to get more out of them. I think the people that you work with, if they enjoy coming to work, they're going to be motivated. And I think you can kind of reach your potential.
Go to the camera platform on the right side.
Hey, Jeremy, back here. Hey, Aaron Murray's comments have been well publicized over the last several hours, questioning your ability to be a head coach and deal with the front office. So just wondering if you have any idea where that idea might come from on his end, and what's your response to that?
Well, first of all, I coached against Aaron, and he was a fantastic player, great competitor. But I grew up a coach's son, so when you're standing on the sideline, and your dad's high school team is going 2-8, the folks up in the stands, even in Rainsville, Alabama, they're not real happy. So I realized at an early age that everybody has an opinion, and my dad told me, said, as long as they pay their money, son, they can say whatever they want to. So I'm going to worry about the things that I can control, and I know who I am, and I'm comfortable with that.
Go over here in the aisle, 3rd row.
Coach, everybody on a staff puts in long hours, but as a head coach, you get pulled in a number of different directions. What's it been like to adjust your schedule to meet all the requirements and demands of being a head coach?
Probably the thing that I've missed the most is, the opportunity to go out during spring recruiting, to have a chance to go see high school coaches. I really love that part about it. I love going into the schools. Sometimes it can motivate you. You see things, and we can learn from everybody. A lot of people ask me about being a head football coach. Well, I could probably name you 100 high school coaches that are far more deserving than I am. I was just in the right place at the right time, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I have, and going to try to do the best that I possibly can, just like every other job I've had.
Go to the camera platform in the far back right.
Hey, Coach, in your introductory press conference, you mentioned that you wanted to create a Tennessee team that was big, fast, dominating, aggressive, and relentless. I know that's a long process to create that, but what kind of steps do you think you all have taken so far?
Well, I think everybody in our program, our coaches, our players, our administration, our fans, I think everybody is headed in the right direction. Our fan base is hungry. Our players are hungry. As you go across, the Southeast, you encounter so many Tennessee fans. They're everywhere. You can feel the passion. You can feel the energy, and it excites me. And it's an honor to have a chance to represent this fan base.
Go down here on the front row. Right.
Jeremy, what are your expectations this fall of JaJuan Jennings, and has he done everything asked of him to be fully reinstated?
JaJuan didn't have an opportunity to go through spring. He had a little meniscus done, and so he's working hard this summer. He's done exactly what I've asked him to do. I really like JaJuan. I like his competitive edge. He wants to be good. He wants his team to be good. So I'm looking for big things out of him. We just got to get him well and get him out there on the practice field so he understands exactly what we're trying to get done.
Go over here on the left side, 2nd row, all the way to the end.
Jeremy, right here to your left. Having played and coached at Alabama, now being on the other side of that rivalry, if you had to pick just one game, is that the one you'd have circled on your calendar now at Tennessee? And what does that rivalry mean to you?
No, the one game I got circled on my calendar is West Virginia, and only because it's the next one. I know that's coach speak, but the big thing we're going to do is we're going to worry about the things that we can control, and that's the great thing about the SEC and about the Southeast and the passion that the fans have with the rivalries. You talk about Alabama and Tennessee or Tennessee and Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. I mean, heck, I want to beat South Carolina. I want to beat Mark and Missouri, just as bad as I want to beat the rest of them. We want to win them all. But we're going to worry about the things that we can control. And I think we'll be okay if we do that.
We'll go right here on the third row to the right, around the aisle.
Coach, you finished up at Alabama by beating Georgia in the national championship game. Obviously, you're familiar with Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. Can you give us your ideas about Georgia football and working with Kirby Smart, maybe what you took from him?
When we started at Alabama, me and Kirby were, obviously a lot younger than we are now, so we spent a lot of time together. I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know if anybody knows this. I was an off-the-field coach, and Kirby obviously was, he might have been the defensive coordinator, might have just been the defensive back coach at the time, but Mary Beth was pregnant with the twins. And we actually, it had to be the first year, so we're all living in an apartment. So Kirby calls me and says, listen, she's getting close. If she needs to go to the hospital, man, I need you to take her. I said, no problem. And, one night, about midnight, my phone rings, and I look, and it's Mary Beth. And she said, Pruitt, let's go to the hospital. And I said, well, I'm fixing to get in the shower. She said, don't get in the shower, come right now. So here we go. I'm not driving fast enough. I get her up there to the hospital. Well, heck, I'm thinking I'm here. So we start rolling into the hospital, and they're giving me, all the stuff to put on and stuff. And I'm just going right along there with her. And right before they took her in, she said, he's not my husband. So but the twins didn't come that night. Kirby had a chance to come back and got a chance to be there. But no, I've really been blessed, not only with the head coaches that I've worked with, the men that I played for, and the assistant coaches that I've met along the years. I've been very blessed to be around knowledgeable people, good people, that have a passion for what we do, and I'm thankful for that.
We'll go over here to the right side on the second row.
Tough to follow that one up. But back to JaJuan Jennings, you talked some about Marquez Callaway and how he's hard to guard on the outside. How do you view JaJuan as a receiver as he's kind of maturing into that position?
Well, we've not had a practice with him on the field, so I don't think that I could exactly say. I know coaching against him, I think the guy was a really good competitor. I thought he played with toughness. He's a big man that runs well, so it'd be hard for me to answer that until I got out on the field and saw firsthand.
We'll go to the camera platform right in the middle.
In your time so far, what have you seen from Will Ignont?
Will's one of the guys that I actually had a relationship with before I got to Tennessee, so I was very familiar with him. We grew up not far from each other. Will's changed his body. He's really worked on, increasing his muscle mass and slimming down, which I think will help him. He's a physical guy, smart guy, and I think he has a bright future.
Go over here on the left side, second row on the aisle.
Hey, Coach. What is one thing that you took away from Nick Saban that you will enforce in as being a head coach?
Well, I think I'm going to do all my assistants a favor. I think we'll do like Coach and just say there's one voice so they don't have to talk to the media. They'll appreciate that.
We'll go over here to the right, standing.
Coach, Phillip Fulmer wrote you a letter in the spring. Do you have that displayed anywhere, and what did that mean to you?
Coach Fulmer writes me a letter about every day. But no, it's good. And to me, it's the passion that Coach Fulmer has for the university. You can feel it. You can feel it in the energy in the room. You can see it in him. You can hear it in his voice. And it's contagious. I will say that.
Go over here on the left side, on the back row.
Hey, Coach. This season, your non-constant out of the SEC West is Auburn, of course, and you'll be traveling to Auburn. How excited are you and your team to travel to Jordan Hare this year?
Well, I've been there several times, and I'm going to tell you it's a tough place to play. And I told Gus and Chip, I said, remember now, we're friends. okay? So, but yeah, I have lots of friends on that staff. It's a hard place to play. Those guys will have a really good football team. I should have talked to Coach Sankey about it. We have a stretch. You got the SEC schedule. We play West Virginia. Heck, I told him we might as well add the Eagles, the 85 Bears, and maybe Grayson High School.
We'll go over here to the left on the back row on the aisle.
Coach, when you were introduced, you talked about the importance of having a staff of really good teachers. What was it like to see the staff operate through the spring, and are you pleased with the work that's been done thus far?
Well, out of the 10 guys, just as far as the on-the-field coaches, I was very familiar with them. 7 of them I've worked with before. So I knew what I was going to get, and I think they knew what they were going to get. That's why, within 24 hours of being on the job, we had 7 or 8 coaches. So Winky might have been up at the Heisman deal. But I knew what I was getting. These guys are great teachers. They're really good men. They have great relationships with their players. They're good motivators. They're loyal. And we enjoy working together.
We'll go to the camera position in the back right.
Hey, Coach, you added a few grad transfers who have played at a really high level, Keller Christ, Madra London, and Brandon Kennedy. Why choose them, and what do you hope they can contribute to this team this year?
Does he get 2 questions?
He does.
Okay. We needed to add some guys. One of the big things that I think I learned from the men that I've worked for is it's very important in the SEC or in any conference is to manage your roster. So we had some holes and depth issues and some unknowns that we needed to address, and I think we did that with the transfers.
Go over here on the left side, right in the middle.
Hey, Coach. A lot of criticism from the previous coaching staff was player development. In your short time of being head coach at Tennessee, how do you feel like you've developed these players to get ready for fall camp?
Well, there was 30 of them that didn't participate in fall camp, so we really have a lot of unknowns. Didn't participate in spring. 15 of them because they wasn't here, 3 grad transfers, but there was 12 guys that didn't participate in spring. So we have a lot of unknowns, but one thing we have is we have competition. And I think everybody on our football team feels like they have an opportunity, and every one of them do. We have no starters. I think that's why you hadn't seen people leave our program. Our kids are happy. They're excited. They feel like this is something that they want to be a part of.
Go over here to the left side on the back row.
Right here, Jeremy. You walked into a locker room last December that was somewhat emotionally wounded after the season and the long coaching search. What was the first thing that you wanted them to hear from you to help them restore their belief that the future was bright for Tennessee?
Well, all over the country, and it happens every year, you start over. Every team starts over, okay? It don't matter what happened last year, don't what happened 10 years before, it don't matter what happened 100 years before. It will have absolutely no impact on what's going to happen in the future. Everything that's going to happen in the future, we're going to have a chance to impact it. So, to me, it's about what you do from this day forward, and I think our guys have done that. We're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're not worried about that. We're hungry. We're excited. We enjoy being around each other, which I think is important.
Got time for just a couple more. We'll go right here in the middle on the camera platform.
Coach, I believe you talked about the transfers a second ago. I believe you mentioned Brandon Kennedy in the other room. How big of an impact do you expect right away from him, and also the fact that he has multiple years of eligibility there for Tennessee?
Well, first of all, the fact that he graduated in 3 years says a lot for him, about his capacity to learn, his commitment to excellence and doing what's right. Having 2 years left, watching him compete in practice, playing games, I think the guy will definitely be a great addition to our offensive line. I know everybody on our team is excited to have him.
Final question. We'll go right here on the back row, right in the middle.
Coach, your experience working with Tosh Phillip, and although you're competitors now, did you have any words of advice for him about taking that position?
No, I did not. Tosh he's ready to be a defensive coordinator. Tosh is a great teacher. He has passion for the game. He has passion for people. He's a good friend of mine. I enjoyed working with him the 2 years I worked with him. He's a guy that you want on your side, so he'll do a fantastic job.
All right, thanks, Coach.